Welcome. Today we will look at the AWS billing dashboard. You can reach the billing dashboard from the AWS homepage by using the My Account drop-down menu. In this case, we've created a temporary account for me called Matt Billing. As I scroll down, it's My Billing Dashboard. Click on the link, and it opens up the Billing and Cost Management dashboard, which shows a summary in a single view of my costs associated with this particular account. In this case, on the right-hand side, we have the month-to-date spend by service. So it gives you a nice overview to see which particular services are incurring the most costs. In the middle, it also gives you the spend summary. So the middle bar here is the month-to-date. And then I have a forecast based upon the current usage this month. And I also have a historical perspective where I can look and see what happened last month to see where we're at. If I'd like to dive deeper into the costs associated with this account, I click Cost Explorer. Cost Explorer brings up the current costs in the month along with forecasted month-end costs. It shows me how much it's increased or decreased over the month, and I can go ahead and click Explore Costs. By exploring costs, it drops down. By the way, before I do that, look on the right-hand side. It shows the December trends. So SageMaker costs are up. And so we can go ahead also see by region that costs are up. As I click Explore Costs, I now have the ability along the top to categorize and drive down deeper into the costs. So for example, I can look at costs per region. Here it shows that US West, Oregon, is where we're incurring the most costs. I could go ahead and look at an instance type, for example. M4 large Elasticsearch is incurring the most costs within this account. T2 micro, T1 micro, not as much. So you can look at it by instance type. I can also click service to see how I'm incurring costs per service. The nice thing is if my boss came to me and said, Matt, I need a report. Can you give me a report on how much our costs have been over the year to date within this account? I can click New Report. That would be a cost and usage reports. I have other options in terms of reports. I click Create Report. Drop-down menu under last 3 months gives me the option here for year to date, along with 1 year, 6 months, or I can do a custom. So I'm going to do year to date. I click Apply, and now it does show me the costs incurred here per month. And it does show on the bottom here that June and July we incurred a high amount of cost. July $1,400 and in June $1,600, almost $1,700 in costs. So those were busy months. In this case, I happen to know that we were developing a new class, and that's why we incurred those types of usage within June and July in this particular account. So I can go ahead and click Save As. I can entitle the report. So year-to-date costs. And I happen to already create this one. So year-to-date costs for Matt Billing account, let's say. I can click Save Report. And now that report has been saved. Over here on the left-hand side, there's a saved reports. So there are a whole bunch of different reports that I can go ahead and look at. I can go ahead and even create reports from here. So here's my report that I did create. And of course, it's the same view we saw earlier. The last thing to look at is budgets. Budgets allow us to go in from a cost perspective or from a usage perspective to go ahead and set up a budget that will allow us to trigger an alert when we exceed that budget. So we can set the parameters. In this case, there's a monthly budget. It's associated with cost. It gives us the current cost and it's budgeted to 300. Forecasted 294, and then it tells us overview where we're at. If I click on this monthly budget, gives me an overview of what's actually incurred, and it shows the alert. So the alert that was set up when this budget was created was the actual costs exceed by 10% the budgeted amount. In this case, the budgeted amount is $300. The actual costs, if they exceed by 10%, which is $30, then this particular Amazon account or email account will be notified. And when that's notified, then you can go ahead and you know that something's occurring and you can go in and handle it. It doesn't shut off anything or stop anything. It just gives you a warning. You can also do it by usage. So you can look at the usage of different services within your AWS account. So there's a lot of granularity here that you can go ahead and set up so that you can make sure that you're within your budgets. For example, this account's used to create classes, so we can make sure that in creating a particular class, in testing the labs, that we don't exceed a particular budget, in this case $300. That changes. Obviously, you saw earlier in the year that we incurred a lot more costs because it was a different kind of class that was more resource intensive. And so that would obviously require us to change the budget, or we would constantly be getting alerts because, as you saw before, back in June and July, it was $1,700 and $1,500 incurred of costs, and the budgets here, it's just set for $300. So budgets allow you to go in and actually keep track and get a better overview of the costs you're incurring within your AWS account. Thank you, and have a great day.